What's up, everybody? Just gonna do a video talking about some things. If I could give any advice to anybody, that's all that matters. There's been so many people that have helped me on YouTube. You know, I've always had fish tanks my entire life. Nothing, crazy, just usually a 55-gallon with just basic setups, all, fake plants, fake decorations, bunch of different fish. Not really caring about it, just, really enjoying it, but nothing too serious. But I decided to do a planted tank because they just, really intrigued me. Didn't know a single thing about it. And so I got on YouTube and, bought a couple books that, were nowhere near as helpful as YouTube has been. To name a few, Dustin's Fish Tanks helped me a ton. ADU Aquascaping, great stuff. Dude knows what he's talking about. Who else? Let's see. There's just been so many. J-Flesh Tanks, Mr. Mom's Tanks. But a lot of ADU Aquascaping, a lot of Dustin's Fish Tanks, a lot of all of them. I've just been, just watching and learning, and then, finally decided to go for it. And let me tell you, the best way to learn is to do it, because I've, learned so much hands-on. It's just been a crazy ride, and I feel like I finally figured it out. I've had so many different problems with algae, so many different problems with certain plants. Fish has been a factor, even figuring out the right species, the right water parameters, the right plants for said species, all that good stuff. And what I've learned is just balance. That is the most important thing, is balance. ADU Aquascaping has, a great video about balance, about things needing to be balanced. Dustin's Fish Tanks even says it too. Just balance is the key. That is 100% the best advice I can give anyone, if anyone even, ever watches this. What was I going to say? Oh, yeah. It took me a while to figure everything out. The basic things that I thought was just, I needed highlighting, I needed CO2, and I needed fertilizers. Which, yes, you do need those things, but you need to figure out the balance with all of those things together. If you have too high of lighting, not enough CO2, and not good enough filtration, and too much of a bioload, it's just gonna be terrible, and it was for me. My lights, as you can see now, I picked my light up. It's kind of ghetto at the moment. I've been meaning to hang it. It's just kind of up there, but my light was directly down in my tank, and I had terrible algae growth. And yes, my plants were growing, but not as well as they are now. I thought they were, but I picked my light up honestly just because I had to put this hang on the back, filter on the side, just because I'm in the middle of swapping filters. But and it just, the algae just slowly started going away. I also used hydrogen peroxide to get rid of some of it too, because it was terrible. It was destroying everything. It looked bad. But yeah. So I picked up my light. Everything's looking super green. That was like my major issue, is I couldn't get my plants to turn green. I'd seen the same plants in other people's tanks that were just like gorgeous green. And mine were like a yellowish, brownish green. I didn't like it at all. So, picked up my light. That was one thing. Lowered the light. I also lowered the timer on it. I was running it, I think, 10 hours a day. It's now going either 6 or 7, I believe. So that helped a lot with the algae. And then, the other thing I was doing was fertilizing with liquid ferts. And it was saying for every 10 liters put, or 10 gallons put 10 milliliters in once a week. And I was like, okay, yeah, that seems alright. So I would do that, And then also the algae started going crazy again because I didn't realize that these plants cannot take in that much nutrients in, a single day. So I just started dosing the 10 milliliters throughout the week, just a little bit every day or every other day. And that's helped a ton. My plants have gotten so green, so lush looking. I mean, this thing right here. My mind goes blank every time that I'm on video. I know it every single time that I'm not, talking about it, but right now, every single plant, I couldn't even tell you. This is my chrysanthemum, also called Monte Carlo. Just planted it the other day. It's looking pretty good. You can see, it's, starting to kind of want to look like it's growing sideways, so it's kind of wanting to carpet, I guess, which is looking good. This right here, I'm guessing, was pearlweed. Starting to grow taller, I'm guessing just because I raised the light and it's not getting attacked by algae anymore. So that's looking cool. I'll probably move that once it gets a little bit bigger. Probably move it towards the back or something in the back corner. I don't know, I didn't think I was going to get this stuff at all. I was going to probably carpet with that. This is called, I'm going to get it, hydrocodal something. I don't remember the other name for it, but it is also called Japan. I love this plant. It's such a good looking plant. It spreads so fast. And now that I've hired the light, I can tell it's growing a lot taller. So I'll clip it soon and plant it over towards the side so it'll grow out more towards that way. I also put some right here in between the log. I'll probably put another clipping there so it'll grow a little bit faster. But that little bugger's growing. There was only like a tiny little stem on there. And it's growing. That was, a couple days ago. And I got a bunch of neon tetras in here right now. Just actually went and got some more. They seem to really enjoy being up inside the frog bit roots. They might be eating some algae or something off of it. I don't know, but I've had trouble keeping these guys alive. They're so finicky. They die off so much. But they're cheap and they're good looking and I love them. They add such a nice color contrast to all the green in the tank. And the black and the brown and the red. This thing right here, still pretty red, looking good. I have some clippings down there that are growing nicely. I'm probably going to clip it again, bring some more around the rock. Like I said in other videos, I want that to be a little more bushy than tall. Got a Nubius in the back, doing its thing. It's growing some more leaves on it, with the giant hair grass next to it. And this thing, I really can't ever remember the name of it. Since the day I bought it, I couldn't remember the name of it, but it's a gorgeous plant. It's super green, which my video is not even picking up how green these things are. I mean, they look green in the video, but they are like highlighter green. They're super green. And this thing was just absolutely devastated by algae. The algae was just covering it. It was almost completely brown, and I had to clip off the stems that were covered in algae, and I clipped off the tips. Because this thing, it grows pretty fast, so it has some new tips on it that weren't covered in algae. Clip those off. That's what you see down here, right there. Those were the tips, and they're growing pretty big already. So, right there you can see is a little Ludwigia stem popping up, looking great, growing real nicely, looking pretty red. Yeah, guys, it's all about the balance. Just figure that out. It's really what you got to do. You got to figure out, even the CO2. I was running pretty low CO2 because I was just scared of it. It was pretty intimidating. But I think I've got a good bubble count on it now. It's rocking right there. It looks like about 1.5 to 2 bubbles a second. It's rolling. It's through an Aquatech bubble counter / check valve, and I have an Aquatech. I can't see it. Can you? Yeah. I have an Aquatech mini paintball CO2 regulator. Works out great. It's got a solenoid on it. Shuts it off. with the timer that I got hooked up to it. Great piece of equipment. Couldn't have been happier with that. This right here is what I'm running. The Aqueon plant food. It was just cheap. It seems to work out pretty good. As you can see, it's got results. Like I said, I'm not doing the single dose every week. I'm spreading it out throughout the week, helping a ton more. Like here, I have the cap right here. You can see there's only that much left in it because I've been putting a little bit in throughout the week. That second line, that 10 mil line right there, I don't know if you can see it. That's where it was, and that's how much I've been putting in throughout the week. So yeah, all about the balance, nutrients, CO2, lighting, obviously substrate. You gotta have good substrate. I got the Floramax, the Carib Sea Floramax in here. It's a little more coarse than I would like, just because I like the carpeting plants and pretty much everything in here. So the longer stem plants is pretty fine roots. You can see this right here. I mean, the roots are pretty fine. They have a little trouble getting into the substrate, but I help them out. I push them in when they start, shooting out stems on the side. And I'm kind of worried about this stuff, but I've heard great things about it, that it spreads pretty well. It's not as demanding as the HC baby tears or the dwarf hairgrass that I was also considering using. But I'm super happy. I mean, I got a ton of frog bit up here, growing like crazy. I gotta take some out soon because it's cutting the light off my Telenthera. Cats are going at it. Try and get them in at least every video that I have, apparently. Because they're kooks. They're crazy. They don't know what they're doing. Nobody knows what they're doing. But anyway, guys, I'm not going to take up too much of your time. I just want to try and put some sort of advice out there and thank all the guys that I've been putting stuff out there on YouTube for, the last couple years. Great videos, extremely informative, extremely detailed on what they're saying, and give you, the visual of what they're saying. That's the main thing. You can read up as much as you want, but you gotta see it, you gotta do it, you gotta understand what you're doing. And you gotta have the love for it. That's the main thing. You gotta love what you're doing. If without that, it's just, you're not gonna enjoy it. It's a lot of work, for sure. It's a lot of attention needed. Almost every day you need to give it a little bit of attention, so. Yeah, guys, I don't know. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you think of it. If you have any questions, let me know. I'll try and answer as good as I can. I'm still pretty new to it, but I'm loving it. Alright, guys, I'm out.